I am at the Australian High Commission here in Delhi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi last week has concluded his visit to Australia, and he has signed a number of deals in Australia. He has had that third annual India-Australia annual meet with his Australian counterpart, Anthony Albanese, and over there was also present the Australian High Commissioner to India. We have with us right now His Excellency Philip Green. Philip Green, thank you very much for speaking to us. And of course, I do want to understand from you your experience when you visited Australia. You were in Melbourne. You were there for all the bilateral engagements and the CEO summits. What was your experience like?
Well, it was quite a buzz, really. Frankly, it was a career highlight for me. But more importantly, this was a landmark visit for Australia and for India. And, you know, we've had a partnership that's been building quite strongly. But as you say, this is the third annual Leaders Summit, and it was a big one. We had a wonderful opportunity for the two Prime Ministers to greet the Indian community of Melbourne together. That was a celebration of Indian culture in Australia, a celebration of our wonderful multiculturalism. But there was very serious discussions and new outcomes on defence and security, on strategic tech, on energy supplies to both countries, and on our preparation for a major cultural showcase here later in the year, as well as sport.
Absolutely. We'll talk about sports. That's the most exciting. India and Australia have been bound together when it comes to cricket, especially. But I am going to ask you first about this very talked about uranium exports deal. How is it important for India and Australia to build these critical supply chains?
Well, this is an important step forward. You may know that 12 years or so ago, we signed a nuclear safeguards agreement with India, which in principle allowed for the sale of Australian uranium to India, but the necessary administrative arrangements hadn't been put in place. That is now being done, and that will now allow a flow of Australian uranium to India, which is important. As India and Australia, we both make efforts to reduce reliance on fossil fuels and build a greener economy.
Another important aspect where the Prime Ministers of both countries have spoken about elevating our strategic partnership, concluding it. Is there a timeline that we're looking at?
Well, look, what we did on this occasion was to upgrade and enhance our joint declaration on defence and security. This is enormously important. Australia and India are reliable, trustworthy partners in a region which is more contested, and when we need better friends. We've been building this for many years, but we hadn't identified in a declaration like this with the endorsement of leaders how far we've come and what our ambition is for interoperability, for joint training, for maritime domain awareness. This is enormously important, and it was a landmark deal. We say that India is now a top-tier defence and security partner for Australia, and that matters even more as we face an unpredictable region.
Particularly about the defence declaration, what has been the highlight is industries and startups coming together, the Defence Innovation Agreement that has been signed. How does this help the two countries mutually?
Well, look, our defence partnership has a number of elements: joint training, joint exercising, new step forwards in maritime domain awareness. What we have settled in the context of our strategic tech partnership, which is called PACT, what we've settled in that is a window where we will engage more on defence tech, so that we can support our defence industries in going up the tech ladder, which is very important.
Investment has also been a key feature. There have been announcements in the tune of 500 million Australian dollars, which are going to be pouring into India. Are there more avenues where these investment ties are further going to build from India to Australia and vice versa?
So you're right, Megha. So the big announcement was that Australian Super, which is, I think, Australia's largest pension fund, will invest a further $500 million in the National Infrastructure Investment Fund. That's a big announcement in itself. I think the other thing that is important for us is that an Australian firm called AirTrunk, which is a regional leader in the field of data centres, plans a very big investment, tens of billions of dollars in India, to build data centres and support India's tech future. So the prospects are rosy, and we look forward to a further delegation to support investment which will come from Australia to India later this year.
And as we spoke about cricket to begin with, of course, the Big Bash League, you know, the T20 Premier League of Australia is finally going to be coming to India. First match happens, I think, in Chennai in December.
Correct.
How does that work out in further building these people-to-people connect? Sports, of course, a soft power where both countries have played to their advantage.
So this is an important step forward for us. Everyone in Australia loves the IPL. We hope more Indians will take an interest in the Big Bash League. And so to have the opportunity of playing a real competition match of the Big Bash League here in Chennai is very exciting for us, and we hope that we'll get a great audience in Chennai who'll enjoy the Aussie cricket. We are broadening out our sports engagement as well. So cricket is very strong, but we see that India has an ambition to host more major sporting events. Commonwealth Games will happen in Ahmedabad in 2030, and maybe an Olympic Games in the future. So what the new sports cooperation agreement does is to focus more on how we can engage on major sporting events. Australia has hosted 5 Commonwealth Games already. We will host our 3rd Olympic Games in 2032. So we have some skills and competencies that might be useful to India, and we hope to be able to demonstrate that as India builds in hosting major sporting events.
Your Excellency, thank you very much for speaking to us on NewsX. So that was the Australian High Commissioner to India, and of course congratulations to you, both countries in fact, for further strengthening our ties and elevating our relationship at all levels.
Thank you.